Welcome to CAM Matters, Condos, Co-ops, HOAs, and beyond. Betsy Barbieux is an informational leader in Florida on community association living, rights, and obligations. She is an expert on the rights and obligations of owners as well as the association. If you live or are planning to live in the state of Florida, there's a good chance you'll be part of a community association. And by the end of this show, you'll know a little bit more about community associations and why they matter.
Welcome to the February edition of CAM Matters. I'm Suzanne Lynn with Betsy Barbieux, the expert on all CAM Matters issues. We're going to be talking today about some interesting topics. I'm going to say angry people and ham. Let's just start there. Betsy, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you, first of all.
That sounds like quite an intro.
It's going to be a show. Let's start off with why owners get so angry, because this is something that you're currently dealing with. And let's just dive right in.
There might be one coming through the door while we're doing this.
Even though the door's locked.
The door's locked. That didn't keep her from pounding on the door. No, one of the things that I like to talk about is dealing with difficult people. And most of my students and CAMs and board members, they love listening to me talk about that, and they really get a lot of good information. But I thought I would do a prequel to that and say, why are people difficult? Why are they being, I don't know about anybody else, but my world, they're getting angrier and angrier.
And I want to just stop you real quick because you are certified in communications with DISC. So of people who know how to communicate, yourself and listen, you are the one I want to hear. Why are people difficult? Why are they angry? Because you have an expertise over and above what the average person has. And I just find that really interesting.
And that's probably true. I know some things about people that they don't even know about themselves, but and it's not like psychology or anything.
It's body language and things like that. Yeah.
But what I have begun to realize is that there are two things that make owners in a community association really angry. And it keeps boards and them from moving forward and moving into the 21st century. I'm still dealing with people who I swear are in the 19th century.
Wow.
And they just won't change. They won't change the way they're doing things. They don't question the way they've been doing things. And what I did at that presentation 2 weeks ago, I said, have you all ever heard the ham story? And they looked
ham story?
Yeah.
Like ham, like you eat ham?
Ham. Okay. Like ham. Yeah, not ham, but ham. That might be a new article.
Sorry.
But, and
ham matters.
Yeah. Ham matters. So, gosh, we're going to get off track. And I told them the ham story. I said, and I'm not the author of this story. I have no idea where it came from. So a lot of people, I'm sure, have heard it. So I'm not claiming authorship of it. There was a young couple, newly married, and the wife, she was just as happy as she could be. And she was so excited to cook her husband his first ham dinner. Now, she was using a real ham that had a bone in it. And he's watching and he's excited because they're going to have green beans and macaroni and cheese and a bunch of other good stuff to go with it. So he's watching her, and she takes the ham with the bone and she cuts off both ends of the bone and puts it in the ham. Puts the ham in the pan.
Okay.
And he said, so why did you cut off the bone? And she said, no, my mother did. And he's kind of puzzled. And later he gets a chance to talk to his mother-in-law, and he said, my wife was making a ham the other day, and she cut off the bone before she put it in the pan. And I asked her why, and she said, it was because you did it. And so why did you cut the bone off the ham before you put it in the pan? And she said, I don't know, my mother did. So he finally got a chance to talk to Grandma and said, so tell me, what is this secret? There's got to be some special secret of making the ham taste really, really good to cut off the ends of the ham, the bone. And she said, oh, that ham just wouldn't fit in my pan.
So they were doing it because that's the way it had always just been done. That's what they saw.
Yeah. And this is how we operate our community associations. Yeah. We have always done it that way before. But the original meaning has been lost. Mm-hmm. And now we are...
That's great.
Light years off track of where we should be.
Right.
And one of those ham ends is meetings. People have lost the understanding of what a board meeting is for. A board meeting is not an informational meeting and a Q&A session for the owners.
Okay.
It's not an informational meeting. Now, here's how I'm going to think about this. The board of directors has a mission statement. They have a presumed statutory mission statement. The sole purpose of the board is to protect the property and its value, maintain the things that are used in common, and enforce the restrictions on the governing documents.
Oh, you know what I don't hear on there is please the owners.
Oh, yeah, right. Listen to all their gripes and concerns.
Right.
The threefold mission statement, the last 2 points, the maintain the things that are used in common and enforce the restrictions in the governing documents, those help to enforce point number 1, protect the property and its value.
Okay.
Now, key word here is value. The legislators have said that our board members not only have a prudent man position, they're to act the way an ordinarily prudent person in a like position would act. So I think of that as this kind of standard. They say, yeah, they've got that. But our board members are fiduciaries to the owners. And I was really curious about the change in the word. Why do you go from prudent to fiduciary? Because I'm thinking fiduciary is a whole lot higher, stronger, right. It's more responsibility. Mm-hmm. And here's what I kind of put together that I thought might be easy to understand. Because the mission statement is protect the property and its value, the legislators see the board members in a fiduciary capacity with the owners, because the decisions that the board makes to maintain and to enforce could affect the value of the individual owner's property, their home or their unit or their share. It could affect that value. So the legislators said, okay, you're in a fiduciary relationship. So just like a fiduciary is totally transparent with their client, they don't do anything in secret that their client doesn't know about. Your financial planner is not going to say, oh, let's just move Suzanne's money over here. He won't care. Right. You know, they're not permitted to do that. And so in a similar way, our boards, when they make decisions, they need to be open, in the open. Now, pause here for just a second, because nowhere else in the business, corporate, social, civic, charitable world, nowhere do the constituents, the members of those groups come to a board meeting.
Wow, that's a really good point.
Think about it. And if people will stop and think instead of saying ham, 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 then you will realize that it is very, very odd that members or constituents of a group get to come to a board meeting. Right. But our legislators, in their wisdom, decided that since the board is dealing with value and potential value of an individual owner, then the decisions they make have to be at an open meeting, and the owners are permitted to attend. Okay. So they can hear the discussion of the board. Right. However, the legislators went one step that I think is a little too far, because this causes the chaos, and then we lose the ham.
Okay.
The legislator said, and the owners may make a comment to an agenda item, which means boards have to predetermine everything, every topic that's going to be discussed at that board meeting. They have to predetermine that 48 hours in advance and post the notice and agenda so that an owner can look at that agenda and see the points that are going to be talked about and decide if they want to come to that meeting and make a comment about that item. It's not Q&A.
Right.
You may make a comment, and the response of the board chair should be, thank you for that comment. Next.
Really? Not
Yes.
an answer. Not
No.
explaining. Not
No. We're not going to sit here and engage in conversation. There are other times and places for that.
right.
The board meeting is not the place for that.
It sounds to me like that ability to have a comment could open up a can of worms.
Well, it could if you answer. And then it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Right.
But the legislators did say that the board can create a policy for how and when owners speak and make those comments. So the board, it takes about 4 sentences to create a policy to require the owners to sign up to an agenda item ahead of time.
Okay.
They come to the board table, and remember now, the board is sitting in a square or in a circle. The board is not sitting in a panel style because this is not a panel discussion.
But you're saying this is how it's supposed to be. This is not how most of them do it, though.
Right. And this is why owners get angry, because if you sit in a panel style, it looks like the meeting is for the owners.
You're inviting them in.
Yeah, and in all fairness to them, no wonder they're mad.
Sure.
So the board needs to sit in a V so they can see themselves, or they need to sit in a circle or a square. And yes, that means somebody's back may be to the audience, but the meeting is not for the owners. So it's not rude.
Right. They're inviting guests. Yeah, they're not the hosts. Yeah.
Right. They're not the audience, I guess.
Right.
They're not being entertained.
So the number one point, people are angry at these meetings because there's lack of communication and understanding of roles.
Right. And the purpose of the meeting and the role that the board plays and the role that the owners play. There's a misunderstanding. And when you think it's an informational meeting and you think that you're going to get to have your say,
right,
and then you don't, then you're probably more angry.
So miscommunication, not understanding. Let's take a quick break and come back to the second point of why owners get angry, okay? And we'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new career? Do you have skills or interest in management, real estate, construction, maintenance, accounting, strategic planning, project management, budgets, human resource management, lawn and landscaping, pool services, or any other expertise needed to operate a community association? If you do, community association management could be for you. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Florida Community Association Management continues to grow. Career opportunities abound.
Welcome back to CAM Matters. I'm Suzanne Lynn with Betsy Barbieux, and we're talking about 2 reasons why CAM owners get angry. And we hit on number 1, kind of recap number 1, and let's move into number 2.
Well, we talked about the ham,
yeah,
and that relates to board meetings, because owners and board members will say, well, we've never done it that way before. That's the way we've always done it. But they don't know the original purpose of the board meeting. So you have to go all the way back. And if you heard the ham story, we've got to go all the way back to grandma and find out what was the original purpose.
Right.
And then you could get back on track. The other reason.
Yeah, the number 2 reason people are angry.
I was going to say the other reason that I have discovered that owners are angry is because they don't understand how we are required by statute to create a budget. Okay. In the regular business, corporate, social, civic, charitable world, you would determine your estimated, hoped for, prayed for, based on historical contributions or income, based on historical sales, based on the market, based on whatever. You would start with your top line and say, in the regular corporate business, charitable world, this is how much income we're going to have. Hope and pray. And then you would figure your line items under it and hope that you get that money so that you can spend that money. And that's why companies will shut down spending on a line item because they ran out of money on that line.
Okay.
So they'll say, well, can't buy any more office supplies this year. We've already maxed out our budget.
Okay.
In our world, we are required by statute to do the exact opposite. And when you have business people on your board, they're trying to do a budget their way, the way the regular world does a budget.
Okay.
But we have to do it in an opposite way. And then owners certainly don't understand what we just did.
All right. Tell me what an opposite budget looks like.
An opposite budget looks like expenses first. We are going to get our new contracts and bids. We're going to check with our vendors to see what their price increases are going to be. And we come up with what we believe our expenses are going to be. And whatever that bottom line is the income we will have because we are required to get it from the owners.
Betsy, that is such a great explanation.
It's just like,
and
duh.
it makes perfect sense. But if you don't know it,
no.
And you're a business person, listen, I've been in business for 50 years. I know how these budget things work. No, you don't. It's a different process.
It's a different, and which means if we budgeted $50,000 for roof repairs for the year and we spent 70, we're still spending 70. We have to meet our expenses. And if that means that we need to go back to the owners in the middle of the year and say, hey, we need more money from you, guess what? The owners have already promised to pay. When they sign their closing documents, they have already promised to pay whatever it takes. We're required by statute to meet all of our expenses during the year. So if we need more, we're coming after you for more.
Right.
Yes, board members are going to try to be as lean as they can because the money is coming out of their pocket too.
Of course, right.
It's not like they're sticking it to the owners.
Right.
They're sticking it to themselves. And several months ago, you all met my manager, Denise, and she said something to me a while ago as we were talking about the show and all. And she said, owners usually really get angry when the board raises the assessment. They want the board to keep the monthly or quarterly assessment the same from year to year to year to year. But if they don't raise it, she said, they're not doing their job because expenses do go up every year. Right. And if your assessment, monthly, quarterly, annual assessment has been the same for the last 5 or 6 years, your board's not doing its job.
Right.
You're going to be in the hole.
Yeah. Can you kind of compare that to just put it for people maybe who own a car, if you're not doing regular maintenance on it or something like that? Is it the same?
Yeah, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
If you don't re-shingle your house, if you don't, paint it to keep the moisture barrier, you paint because of the thickness of the remaining paint.
Right. You
don't paint to make it look good. If it looks good, that's great. But you don't paint to make it look good. Paint is a protection.
That blew me away when you first told me that. I'm like, really? Okay.
We've had a show too with Connie Lorenz from Asphalt Technology Restoration. And if you don't maintain and rejuvenate your paving periodically, you're not doing your job. Which will keep you from having to repave as soon, which is a whole lot more expensive.
Betsy, it goes back, both reasons people get angry, both come down to communication and understanding.
And we just keep doing the same thing that the other board did, the other manager did, the other board did, the other manager did, and we've lost the whole purpose. So now it's taken on a life of its own. And that life is angry. And I don't know about anybody else, but the whole world seems angrier to me.
It does.
And And we don't need to be more angry than necessary if we would just communicate and take time to learn and based on the last show, read with understanding.
Understand. Yes, I was just going to say that. Yes.
Which means you have to have some conversation with people and not just converse in your own head of what you think is right or wrong.
Right. Right. Betsy, that is powerful. And not just when it comes to CAM, but my goodness, what a better world we would be if we communicated better just in our personal lives. You know?
All the way around.
Yeah. As families. Yeah. Yeah.
But what is so funny, and I'll just end with this, what's so funny is that the presentation I did a couple of weeks ago down in Punta Gorda, and I told them the ham story. I'm now getting emails from a lot of them saying, we got the ham here.
We got the ham.
So I'm thinking, so I have just created a new concept for community associations, and we can now just say ham, and we all know what
we all understand. Exactly.
We all know what we're deal at.
We'll set that right next to bless your heart.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Betsy, this was a great on so many levels about communication, why owners get angry. Thank you so much for sharing this. We hope that as you're watching these shows that you will share them. We'd love for you to share them on social media, but verbally talk about them too. Betsy has such a rich content library on CAM Matters. We thank you for being part of it, for sharing and for liking and maybe even leaving a review. We will talk to you in March. Betsy, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to CAM Matters. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Information provided on this show is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. Please contact a licensed attorney for your specific situation.